And good morning, everyone. Welcome to this day. It is Friday, September 7th, and going to start to be warming up. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. On our show today, Carl Rendazza is here today from United Mutual, and his topic is going to be disaster preparedness. So he's got some slides we're going to show, and he's going to talk about being a building captain as well. Also, we're going to bring you a segment with Joan Milliman from the Roberts Rural Study Club. They have their meeting tomorrow. And also the American Parkinson's Disease Association. They have an event coming up. I believe it's about a month from today. So we'll talk to a couple ladies about that. And we have Wendy Miller here from RE/MAX, your local RE/MAX realtor. And she'll going to introduce her to you and talk about her services as well. Now, as far as meetings go today, there are a couple. The United Agenda Prep, that is going to be at 9:30 in the Sycamore Room. Also in the Sycamore Room, a little while later, will be a special meeting by Third. And what I believe this is, there's some unfinished business that they're going to be voting on. Now, let's get to the weather. As I've been saying, today is a transition day, and it certainly will be warmer today, probably by about 5 degrees. The heat, though, will really come on tomorrow and Sunday. Also predicted with that are some offshore winds. Now, this high pressure system is actually off our coast. The center of it is probably off central California. And as it spins clockwise. So therefore, it's going to be onshore. A lot of onshore winds in Northern California then spin around and come down to our area, producing northerly winds, meaning northeast coming down and then be going offshore. However, we could get some swirling winds with that as well. Some onshore breezes could happen in the middle of that. So there is an elevated fire danger. You know about the huge fire. That's another one up in the Shasta area. So down here, there'll be elevated fire and danger and some wind warnings in certain areas as well. So be prepared for that. Now, as I said, I'm thinking about 85, 86 today. As we move on to the weekend, we're going to see the 90s, and then we're going to back that down on Monday to the mid-80s once again. Around the state this weekend, anywhere from, well, fairly nice weather up at the north coast, if you like it a little cool, to mild to very hot, just depending where you're going to go. Really, Central California on down is going to be quite warm, but look at Tahoe and Yosemite. Here we are in September, and they're still in the 80s. Lake Arrowhead, 84 degrees. Palm Springs, 112. And these are the kind of the averages. I look at today, Saturday and Sunday, sort of the averages for the next several days. San Diego, 92 degrees. So it's going to be hot this weekend. We're going to have anywhere from breezy to windy conditions. So keep that in mind and take care of yourself. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Imagine if you'd grown up with a video documentary of your great-great-grandparents. Family Chronology is a family-owned business here to help you tell your story in your own unique way, in order to ensure that your legacy is passed down to your descendants for centuries to come.
Pretty much, they have been my life in recent years since they were born. They have been the focus of my attention, along with my daughter and my son and my son-in-law too. But the grandkids especially have been my focus. And I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Kiana Lee. Today we're talking with Dr. Christine Chung. Today's topic is gum disease. Doctor, what do we need to know about gum disease? Mom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gum disease is an infection of the tissue that support and surround your teeth. It's a major cause of tooth loss in adults, but it's an easy fix.
Thank you, doctor. So don't wait, people. Come on in and get your 7-day dental smile.
If you asked me what I wanted to be when I was a child, I would have told you a princess or an astronaut, maybe even a chef. But things change. I may not have become a princess, but I found someone who treated me like one. I may not have become an astronaut, but I still got to see the world. I may not have become a chef, but you would never leave my house hungry. The Emeritus Institute has kept my love of learning alive. Every day is a new adventure, and the Emeritus classes have made it possible to keep living out my dreams. Sign up today and begin your life's next adventure.
Parkinson's disease is a neurological movement disorder affecting an estimated 1 million Americans, including many under age 40. The American Parkinson Disease Association is the largest grassroots network in the United States, working to help ease the burden and find the cure for those coping with Parkinson's. Visit apdaoptimism.org today to find out how you can help millions live with dignity and optimism. Your action today will help APDA put an end to Parkinson's disease.
Welcome back. With me today from United is Carl Randazza. And Carl, welcome. Today the topic is disaster preparedness.
Yeah, this week, United didn't have many meetings, and it gave us an excellent opportunity in the United Update to make a presentation on disaster preparedness, which is an important topic for this community. Okay?
Yes, of course it is.
Since we're part of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, okay, United, so give us an opportunity to discuss that. First off, I'd like everybody to possibly grab a pen and a piece of paper. There are some websites that I'm going to be mentioning in my presentation today, and you may want to write them down. They may be for future use for you. I just would like to start by saying that on August 28th, Disaster Preparedness Task Force held an appreciation barbecue to celebrate the good work that has been done by our current Good Neighbor captains. A good time was held by all. Disaster Preparedness Task Force meets every other month to ensure that the village will be ready for possible disaster events. Earthquakes, rain, floods, etc. It is made up of directors from the various mutual boards and GRF so that it covers the whole village. We also have a number of advisors that attend and is also open to all residents. So please come and join us at the meeting. Better yet, become a Good Neighbor captain, and I will talk more about that in a little while. At the barbecue, Tim Moy, the head of the village security and the chair of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, made a presentation where he thanked everyone for their help and provided some additional information. Some of the topics that were discussed at that barbecue were save the date. On October 18th at 10:18 a.m. is the Great California Shakeout, where millions of people worldwide will practice how to drop, cover, and hold on. And if you don't know what those terms mean, go and Google Great California Shakeout. And we'll be providing some additional information about that later. This event began in California in 2008, and the village will be participating this year. The participation is voluntary, but it is a great way for your family to be prepared to survive and recover quickly from big earthquakes. The next topic that was discussed was Code Red emergency notification, which is a very important topic right now. Please ensure that Resident Services has your updated contact information. That is email, cell phone, and home phone. Some of the other items they already have, like your address, but that's important because the information is very important for us to contact you when there is an emergency situation occurring. Another topic that was discussed was social services division is here to help. Many people don't know that we actually have a social services division within Laguna Woods Village, and we have social workers on staff to assist residents in maintaining independence and enhance their quality of life. And then the other thing is safety and security. Remember to hide it, lock it, or lose it. At the event, we also were provided a one-page handout that addresses what to do before and during an earthquake. The information was gathered from the website Earthquake Country, and I think we had a, I had a
Yeah, we
slide
just
to
showed that.
discuss
Yeah,
that.
with
Okay.
that information.
And
Yeah.
it's and also there's also information about Laguna Woods Village disaster preparedness, and those websites are extremely important for you to get some information about disaster preparedness in the village, and Earthquake Country provides information about earthquakes. I would also like to point out that disasters are not always ones that affect everyone. Sometimes a disaster may be personal. Someone falls in a home, has a heart attack, or there is some other personal calamity that requires that person to seek medical assistance. When that happens, you will most definitely call 911 and ask for an ambulance. And if you are alone, you will not have the presence of mind or be able to answer any questions that the EMT may need answers for in order to save your life or ease your pain and anxiety. It will help to have some of these questions answered by way of a little piece of paper hanging on your refrigerator. On the Orange County Fire Authority has provided on their website a form that you can download and fill out and post on your refrigerator, and that's on your screen right now. That information is also provided at the OCFA Medical Info website, which is also on your screen right now. So you can download that, either write in the information online and then print it out, or just download it, print it out, and then write in the information and put that information on your refrigerator. It also asks for additional stuff that you can attach to that, and then make 2 copies, one for the refrigerator and one for the EMTs that will be taking you to the hospital. God forbid that should happen. While I'm on this topic, I would like to remind residents that they should voluntarily provide resident services with a key to their unit. I cannot tell you how many times doors had to be opened in a non-traditional manner so that EMTs could access the unit in order to render emergency medical attention to a person that lives alone. Please consider providing your key to the Key File program by contacting Resident Services and filling out the form. Rest assured that your key will be secured and safeguarded if you have that concern. With regard to good neighbor captains, where this all started when I started this whole presentation, I want to take some time to talk about what they do and the fact that we are still in need of volunteers to help us in the Good Neighbor Captain program. First off, if you become a Good Neighbor Captain, you get to get one of these cool yellow vests that I'm wearing right now. Now, some people may think they're not too cool, but I think they're cool. In Laguna Woods Village, we have a Good Neighbor Captains that are trained by the Disaster Preparedness Task Force to give their neighbors information on how to be prepared for a disaster, big or small. Preparation is peace of mind. A large-scale disaster can be an earthquake, fire, flooding, chemical spill, or terrorism requiring residents to shelter in place as the first option. During the disaster, the Good Neighbor Captain will provide information to residents and provide them with guidance in order to minimize the effect of the disaster. By being a captain, you will gain knowledge that is needed to minimize the effects of the disaster on both you and your neighbors. Neighbors helping neighbors, a truly noble concept. The areas where we need Good Neighbor Captains is shown on a map of the village that is posted. However, that map could be confusing for some because it provides a lot of detail that a lot of people would get confused with. So I've asked that and they're in the process of providing a list, is being compiled by our staff right now to show where the areas are that we need Good Neighbor Captains. In the meantime, take this down, Good Neighbor Captain training and information session is scheduled for September 25th in Clubhouse 7 between 1 and 2:30 p.m. It's September 25th in Clubhouse 7 between 1 and 2:30 p.m. Please do something good for the community and give a little of your time so that we can be prepared should a disaster event occur. Disasters can occur when you least expect it. So if we are not prepared when the disaster occurs, it will be too late. It's information about disaster preparedness website and other places where you can get information. So, is there a?
Yeah, we got it. We
okay.
got the information.
So you can do a couple of things. Okay, if you're looking for some more information, go to the village website, which is posted on the screen right now, or come into the Disaster Preparedness Office located on the first floor of the community center. It is open until noon, Monday to Friday. Email the Disaster Prep Office at disasterprep@vmsinc.org, or call Debbie Ballesteros in the security office at 949-268-2357. And that's what I have right now, and it's very important that we are prepared for disasters in this community, both on a personal level and both on a global level.
All right, thank you very much. It is
welcome.
good information, and as we were saying, sir, you know, a lot of captains are needed right now.
Yes, they are.
Several
very much
hundred,
so.
as a
Exactly.
matter of fact.
So please think about volunteering for that, okay? And attend the meeting that's happening on September, what did I say?
25th.
25th.
Yes.
Okay.
And you get a cool vest.
And you get a cool vest, exactly.
There we go. Good to have you
Thank
on,
you.
sir.
Take care.
We'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Before the next earthquake, take 30 seconds to refresh your memory about these important disaster preparedness tips. Make a family emergency plan. Decide how you'll get in touch with each other, where you'll go, and what you'll do in an emergency. Build a disaster supply kit with enough water, food, and emergency supplies to last at least 3 days. It's important to have disaster supply kits for work, cars, and pets too. Find and fix items in your home that might hurt someone by moving, breaking, or falling during an earthquake. Know how to react safely when the ground shakes. If you're inside, stay there. Remember to drop, cover, and hold on. Drop down onto your hands and knees and cover your head and neck with your arms to protect yourself from falling objects. If you can move safely, crawl under a sturdy desk or table and hold on to one of the legs until the shaking stops. After an earthquake, help people who are hurt or trapped. Call 911 for emergencies only. Check your home for damage, including gas or water leaks, damaged wiring, or downed power lines. Protect your family and your home by making a plan, building a kit, and practicing disaster drills at least twice a year. Be sure to visit readyoc.org for more information on emergency preparedness and alertoc.com to sign up for emergency alerts and notifications. We want you to be prepared for a disaster just as much as you do.
Well, tomorrow the Roberts Rule Study Club will be having their meeting, and today we have Joan Milliman here. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here, Ken.
Yes, so we are talking about delegating duties and talking about committees, and that's going to be the topic of your meeting on Saturday.
Right. So often a motion is made and it needs more work.
Yes.
So it's referred to a committee, and it can go to several different kinds of committees. Often it's an ad hoc committee which simply studies the motion and comes back with recommendations. Now, to set those committees up, you have to have who's going to be on it, how they're going to be chosen, what their task is, and when they're supposed to report back.
Okay, now an ad hoc committee is more of a one-trick pony type of thing.
Correct.
A temporary committee that is looking at a specific
issue.
Yeah.
And when that issue is defined, they're done.
Yes.
And they make
Yeah.
their recommendations to the committee, to the assembly, and
Yeah.
then they vote on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes things are referred to standing committees, like the finance committee or M&C and so
Right.
on. And then once in a while, the group meets as a whole and acts as a committee, where they examine the issue more closely. So the motion to commit can be voted on as to whether it's really needed, how big it should be, what the instructions are, and so on. And committees also form resolutions themselves. Sometimes it's not a motion that's been made, but one that they have to form.
Okay.
So they do the studies and, again, recommend it to the assembly, and they're voted on appropriately. But the assembly usually makes the final decision
Right.
as to whether this is going to happen or not. Usually the committee simply recommends.
Yeah.
And that's what we have here in the village.
Right, and there's also the other point is a subcommittee, and sometimes that oversees a particular part of the main committee,
Correct.
whatever
Yeah.
it might be.
Right, it can. If there's
Yeah.
some detail that needs more work, then sometimes a subcommittee is assigned.
Yes.
But that's kind of rare. We try not to do that so often.
Right, but you do have subcommittees here. A good example when it comes to mobility and vehicles, a subcommittee might be parking or traffic or whatever.
Yes, that's a kind of standing subcommittee
Yeah.
in that group. You're right.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
And so that's the work that they do, and often, sometimes in boards, we're talking about the main board meetings, and things get talked about. Finally, someone go, well, this is committee work. We're not
Right.
here to
Exactly.
dissect this. We're here, like, if we don't particularly care the way this is done, send it back to committee with our points and
That's right.
bring it
And
back.
it doesn't get passed. It goes back to committee
Right.
for more work.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And that happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
It does happen.
Now, as far as when you say committees as a whole, those are certain committees that all the members are
That means
a
that the
part of.
whole assembly, the whole board, meets as if it were in a committee. That is, they can do more discussion.
Mm-hmm.
You can do some other things that you can't do on a regular board meeting. It's not quite as formal.
Yeah.
And you have more chance to research and bring out issues that may have been missed.
Right. And again, people will come to the meetings, make comments or have a particular problem. And quite often, the board members will say, okay, we hear what you're saying, but you need to take this to this particular committee.
Right. Like if there's a landscaping problem,
Right.
you'd go to the landscape committee and bring it up there, and they would deal
Right.
with it. Yeah. Committees deal more in depth with
Yes.
problems like that.
Yeah. So the meeting that's coming up on Saturday will be at the Towers at the Key Club at 9 o'clock. And this is going to be your main topic, right?
That's right. That's right. And everybody's welcome, but especially those who are going to be new on the board or want to know more about Robert's rules. We always have a good time, and we go into there. You can bring up an issue, and we will discuss it. Besides the main speaker, there's always a chance to get some of your problems solved.
Yeah.
And more understanding.
Yeah, for sure. Very good. I thank you for coming in.
Thank you. I sure appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course, more information, you can go on the club pages and find Robert's Rules. And they have their meetings usually once a month, sometimes during the holidays.
Once a month, the second Saturday of the month.
Okay, all right.
Unless there's a holiday.
Right.
Then we rearrange.
Yeah. All right, John. Always good to see you.
Thank you very
take care.
much.
We'll be right back.
#1 choice for wood flooring and more is LA Carpet.
Now during their 2-day sale, visit their showroom now and get 65% off wood flooring, laminate, and waterproof flooring.
Plus, get 5-year, 0% financing.
Carpet, #1 for you.
Well, I'd like to welcome a couple guests from the American Parkinson's Disease Association. Coming up in October, there is going to be an educational forum, and I'd like to welcome Rosa Pena. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you here today. And also Janelle Pomeroy. Nice to see you today. So first, give us an overview of about what the organization does. Now, you're local, but you are part of the National Association, right?
Yeah. APDA, the American Parkinson's Disease Association, is a national organization supporting people with Parkinson's and their caregivers across the entire U.S. And we're both here local on the ground in Southern California, working with people and helping people along their journey.
Yeah, what are some of the things that you do here locally? Do you set up resources for folks and maybe give them ideas of how to come across getting caregivers and that sort of thing?
That's correct. So we have a 1-800 call number where people can get information, and we will try to connect them to local resources. We have education programs that are local to the area, and also we started a specialized support group that we're offering in Southern California for people that are newly diagnosed.
And I know, some of the things that you folks do, we talked, you do the walk in the springtime, and then the forum that we'll get to in just a moment. But it's really about everyday support and education, where people can go on the website and really find resources, right? And
Absolutely.
I think more importantly, information.
Absolutely. Our website has so much information on it, and there's a lot of webinars that we do ongoing, but they're all archived on the website as well. So if people want specific information about something that we've tackled before, they can find a ton of resources by going to apdaparkinson.org and just have so much information right at their fingertips.
And this affects everyone, as we know. It's primarily when you get over a certain age, but then there are a lot of folks who are younger, maybe even not even middle age yet, who get Parkinson's, correct?
Sadly, yes. Parkinson's affects all ages. Like you said, it is more commonly found in an older population, but there's been young diagnoses, and it affects the whole family as well, which is the hardest part, that it's not just the person with Parkinson's living with the disease, but their care partners and their loved ones really live alongside them with it. So it's really, it affects the whole family when you get a diagnosis. So the forum that we're doing upcoming, that we're here to promote, really is for the whole family, and really will be a great educational event for everyone.
And this is happening here in, well, I want to say here in Orange County. It's this is the information, by the way, to register. It is the 20th and 21st. And where is it going to take place at?
It's going to be at the Irvine Marriott, so just down the road. It's a 2-day event. People are welcome to come just Saturday or just Sunday if they'd like, but we encourage you to come both days. We have a lot of experts lined up to talk about the latest PD treatments, the latest research, and people will also really be able to connect with each other, which we find is very important. There'll be some movement and dance demonstrations tailored to people with PD, and exercise is really so great for people living with Parkinson's disease. So health and wellness will be a hot topic during the weekend for sure. And really just a really great sense of support and community at this forum, and it's a free event.
Yeah, and Rosa, for some folks, they may have very, I want to say, slow developing Parkinson's. It may start off when they're younger, and there's not a lot of progress to it, which is a good thing. Other people, it can be a little more rapid, but there is, unlike some other diseases out there, there is medications that can really help out, right?
There are no medications that are actually disease modifying, which means there's really nothing that will slow or stop the process.
Right.
But there's a saying that you see a person with Parkinson's, you see one person with Parkinson's, because everyone with Parkinson's, the disease manifests differently, and that's why it's so important for people to see a movement disorder specialist at least once a year, that can look at their treatment plan, can create a treatment plan specifically for that person.
Right.
But one thing we do know is that exercise and moving and staying active is very important for someone with Parkinson's disease, and we do know that it helps them to get connected to those resources early. So once they're diagnosed, it's important for them to see a specialist, to get connected to a physical therapist, to an exercise and wellness program, and also support groups, so that people can get connected to other people that have the disease and care partners, so they don't feel so alone. Because that's what happens with the diagnosis, that some people tend to retract and stay alone, and that it's not the best way to face a diagnosis of Parkinson's.
And some of the things that you're going to go over in this forum is everyday life, is getting out and about, traveling, all kinds of things that may be faced by these folks. So there were some photos from past events. But that, you know, the whole point is getting people out there and communicating and being active as much as possible.
Absolutely. Last year was our first year doing this educational forum, and we had such rave reviews about the event that we, of course, wanted to bring it back to do a year two, and we've already seen really great registration numbers. I mentioned registration is free, but it is required to register, so that way we can save a space for you.
Okay.
The entire weekend will be filled with meals, lots of different experts speaking, breakouts, but also, like you mentioned, we're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
We have a dinner dance planned for Saturday night. We've got a dance group, Invertigo Dance is going to come in and help maybe do a performance that evening, and we've got some great exercise breakouts as well. We also have a caregivers support meeting during the event, so that way.
And that's important.
Yeah, absolutely, it's so important. Like I said, it really affects the whole family, and so we have a little bit for everyone this weekend.
And we also we'll be having an artist in residence, and she is a wellness expert, and throughout the whole 2 days, she'll be providing different types of movement classes for people can choose to be either in the class or go to a breakout session. So that way we keep people active and moving.
Now, is a schedule events, if you go to the website and there's a schedule here so people can know what's happening on each day.
We've got our agenda up on the website. Some of the speakers are listed there. So if you go to apdaparkinson.org/West Coast Forum.
Okay.
That's the best website to see the full agenda.
Okay, we got it up there.
Oh, great. And the only cost to anyone is if you want to stay at the Irvine Marriott overnight, but we have negotiated a room rate discount for folks that wanted to come and stay the whole weekend with us.
All right, very good. Yeah. Well, important information. I think it's great that you folks are putting this on down here, which is nice and local for everyone. And as I said, they also do the walk in the spring. So get involved if you know somebody, if you have a family member, if you're a caregiver, or if you yourself has this disease. I encourage you to go to this event. So again, it's coming up in October. It will be October 20th and 21st at the Irvine Marriott. And go to I'm going to let you say, apdaparkinson.org/West Coast Forum.
You got it. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ken.
We'll be right back. That's a mouthful.
Go for the
Well, you ready to play some golf?
You bet. Just got to take my pills.
I left the house this morning and forgot to take mine. What is that?
MedBox by AmeriPharma has redefined the pharmacy experience. Get all your medications conveniently packaged by the dose every month, regardless of the volume or complexity of your regimen. And best of all, you never miss a dose or worry about when or what you should take next.
This is my lifesaver. My pharmacist organizes all my pills for me and even tells me what time to take them.
Such a hassle for my daughter to organize my medications. But how much does it cost?
Not a penny more. I just called my pharmacist, they contacted my doctor, got my prescriptions, and now I'm all set.
Imagine all of your pharmaceutical service needs in one simple box. It is hassle-free and the service won't cost you a penny more. MedBox by AmeriPharma.
Hi, my name's Chuck Holland. I'm the Information Technology Director for Laguna Woods Village. You may have noticed that Laguna Woods Village has been enhancing their gate security access system over the past several months. You may have noticed this at gates 5 and 6 with the new gate barrier arms, the security cameras, as well as the new bar-coded printed passes that your guests are now receiving. We are happy to announce that we are going to expand this technology to allow residents to go online and manage their guests 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, using a tablet, PC, or smartphone. Residents can use this service by going online to lagunawoodsvillage.com and click on the Guest Passes link. Those residents that have an email address on file should have already received an email in their inbox with login instructions. For those of you who do not know what email address you have on file, please contact Resident Services at residentservices@vmsinc.org or contact 949-597-4600. Residents are encouraged to change their password on their first available opportunity. For more information on how to register your guest online and print passes, please watch this short training video. Welcome to the online guest registration tutorial for Laguna Woods Village. To get started, open up any web browser and go to lagunawoodsvillage.com. Click on the Guest Passes link to get access to the login page. Once you register and log in, you'll be presented with the guest registration portal. You will be able to register 4 different types of guests: a temporary guest, permanent guest, party guest, and a restricted guest. There is a limit of 5 permanent guests per resident and no restrictions on the number of temporary or party guests at this time. First, we will register a temporary guest. If an overnight parking permit is needed, select the drop-down list and pick the Guest OPP pass type. Temporary guests can have a pass for up to 15 days. The pass can be printed at the gate when your guest checks in, or you can email the pass by clicking on the Send ePass link. Guests must present their passes to be scanned before entry is allowed. Second, we'll register a permanent guest. Residents are limited to 5 permanent guests, and passes will be good for 365 days, but will automatically renew every year. If residents need to change their permanent guest, they can simply delete one of their existing 5 passes and add a new one. Third, we'll add a party list. If you're having an event that does not require overnight parking and you need to quickly register more than 1 person, use the party guest feature. It's simple to use and can save time. Fourth, we'll add a restricted guest. This guest category will alert the gate attendants that you do not want this person in the community or visiting your manor. Please use sparingly and only if necessary. The system is simple and easy to use, but does take some practice. Be sure to download the mobile app after registration to make it even more convenient to register your guest online. Thank you for watching this short training video. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact Resident Services at 949-597-4600. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wendy Miller, your Laguna Woods real estate professional. Have you been looking for a realtor?
Wendy Miller helped me through the challenging process of real estate here in Laguna Woods. She was helpful, she was fun, she was professional. I really recommend her.
Whether you're thinking of buying, selling, downsizing, or even relocating within Laguna Woods, I am your real estate professional and can help guide you through the entire process. Give me a call and I'll help you make the right move.
And with me right now is Wendy Miller from RE/MAX, and I'd like to welcome you. Hello.
Oh, nice to meet you. Hello.
Nice to meet you. So we're going to get into this in just a moment. First, let's talk about your background. How did you get into this world of real estate?
Well, actually, it was one of 2 dreams, and about year 2000, I started as an international flight attendant. I flew for 12 years, and that was my first dream. I flew all around the world, met amazing people, gained so much knowledge of the world and how it works and how different people are, even learned different languages and indulged in new food. And yeah, just really enjoyed meeting new people, and I love to speak. Yeah. I love to talk, I love people, and that's what also got me into the real estate world. One of my flight attendant friends was also a real estate agent at the time of being a flight attendant, and I thought, you know what, I've always thought of doing this, and I need to start my education. So about a year before I stopped flying, I started my education into pursuing my real estate license.
And now, yeah, you are local here, but you're from this area anyway, right?
I am.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Laguna Niguel,
okay,
the connector city to Laguna Woods, Laguna Hills. And I've lived there for 39 years, and I just love the community. I love the people. Everyone here is so welcome and inviting, and I just love the humanity of it all. I don't drive by anybody that really doesn't give me a smile or a wave. And likewise, the pleasantries are wonderful. And when I was a kid, my grandparents owned a home in Laguna Woods, and we spent. It actually was called Leisure World back then.
Yes, it was.
It was wonderful, and the big globe out there.
Yeah.
Remember that? And I just loved the greenery. It just felt like you were in this different world, where the birds were chirping and there's nothing wrong. There's so many clubs and so much fun things to do. Croquet, we did bridge, and it was just great. And so coming back into this community really brought me back. And I thought, you know what? I loved working, here, selling homes the past few years. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a go, and I would like to meet the rest of the people and do what I can do to help them with their buying and selling needs.
So have you kind of transitioned into specializing in Laguna Woods in this area?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I have. Since I grew up in the area, I thought, what better way, to meet people and teach them what they need to know, the importance and the knowledge behind buying and selling, and understanding, what you need to do. And
it's very unique, as you probably know, because first of all, you're dealing with, I would say really four entities, because you're dealing with 2 mutuals, and then for the folks who want to live in the towers, that's a third one. And the fourth one is, of course, dealing overall with the community and the rules. I guess you could say the fifth is the city, but there's a lot to deal with, more so than most other communities. Many communities in South Orange County, of course, do have associations.
Yes.
However, the different types of situations that we have in this community are often very unique.
Yes, definitely. There are quite a few challenges that you need to overcome in real estate. There are deeds and there are stock options.
Right.
So yes, I'm very knowledgeable in those areas, and I can help everyone to all possible buyers to understand the requirements, and the specialties that are Laguna Woods.
And in some cases, you have to deal with whatever side you're on, buying or selling, is dealing with a unit that may have had some things done to it, and you have to figure out, well, this was properly done. Does it need to change back? And that's a very, you're not going to do that out. If you're doing real estate at Laguna Niguel in somebody's home, even if there's an association, you're not going to deal with what's going on in the home unless it's a major California code violation that you see.
Exactly.
For the most part, you just kind of go with what's there.
Yes, and like I was saying, it is unique here in Laguna Woods, and especially with the home I sold back in May, it was stock. So what happened was, there's General Electric products in the place, and then the nice thing about it was I was able to help the buyer to get certain items replaced that if they weren't working with an agent, they might have skipped over those items.
So very important. And as far as other thing in this community as well, is you are dealing with people who this might be their very last home.
Yes.
And just because they end up moving here, they could be here for another 30 years. Where if you're dealing with a younger family, they're looking at quite often, well, this is our home for now.
Yes.
And there's a difference too. You want to make sure people are going into something knowing full well what it entails, so they're going to be happy there for years.
Yes, definitely. And especially here, it's nice to really get to know the people and really show them that you care, because that's what's important in understanding their family, understanding all of their needs, and at the end of their ownership of their home, say that they decide to move out of Laguna Woods or relocate within Laguna Woods, or even
and that happens.
And that happens too. Yes, you might be living on second level and you think, oh, I'd like a single level to be my home. For forever.
So you deal with that as well. Now, as far as choosing you as a realtor, a lot of realtors to choose from.
Yes, sir.
Why you? Why, especially for this area?
I have a warm place in my heart for Laguna Woods. Since my grandparents had a place here and I pretty much grew up here, Leisure World, Laguna Woods, I care about people. I don't worry about yesterday. I pay attention to now, and I care for you as a person. And I make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and that you're completely cared for and everything is put into one package. So, yeah.
Very good. Yeah, and
I always have a smile on my face.
Yes, she does. She does.
My nickname is Smiling Realtor, so you'll always see me driving through Laguna Woods with a smile on my face. And I'd love for you to give me a wave and love to stop by and maybe have a cup of coffee.
And if people want to talk to you about your services,
yes.
whether you're buying or selling, 949-294-1022. It's right up there on the screen. And, you know, again, you really seem to know this community well. You're local, and you know the ins and outs, and that's the most important thing here.
Yes, very important to have knowledge. A local area specialist is very important to understand the rules and regulations of the communities and also the cities and the states that those communities are in.
Yeah, very
And
good.
I am available, check this out, 25 hours a day,
Okay.
8 days a week.
8 days a week. There you go. Nice to meet you. We'll see you again, I'm sure.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
All right.
And we'll be right back. Very good.
Hi, I'm Wendy Miller, your Laguna Woods real estate professional. Have you been looking for a realtor?
Wendy Miller helped me through the challenging process of real estate here in Laguna Woods. She was helpful, she was fun, she was professional. I really recommend her.
Whether you're thinking of buying, selling, downsizing, or even relocating within Laguna Woods, I am your real estate professional and can help guide you through the entire process. Give me a call and I'll help you make the right move.
The Santa Ana Zoo goes beyond animal attractions. They are committed to providing recreation and education while highlighting the message of conservation. I caught up with Lauren Berg, educational specialist, to learn about their education programs. We are in Exploration Outpost, and I've caught up with Lauren, who's going to tell us a little bit about the volunteer and education programs. So, very fun area that we're in, and you said this is where some of our educational programs happen, right?
Yes, this is actually one of the really popular places for our education programs, including our Zoo Explorer. We use a lot of volunteers. We would not be able to do our education programs without our volunteers, and they range in backgrounds, ages, and abilities. Our docent program and our interpreters are the main ones that help us with those programs, and we absolutely love retired teachers and other people who just love kids and animals and want to come share the zoo with that next generation.
So what are some of the requirements as a volunteer?
So we don't have any starting requirements. You don't need to have a background in education or a background with animals. We do all of the training. We just ask for a lot of enthusiasm. And of course, availability while the zoo is open, because most of our programs take place during the regular hours of 10 a.m. until noon, but we also have volunteer opportunities throughout the entire day from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
And what are some of the things that they would be doing?
Sure, so the very first requirements for our volunteers is attending an orientation. We have orientations on the first Saturday of even-numbered months, so every other month. And we have volunteers that help with education programs, leading students around the zoo and doing activities. We have volunteers in our farm, helping people interact safely with the goats and the sheep and our other ambassador animals. We even have volunteers that help out our animal services staff if they're looking for something more physical.
And if somebody wanted to participate as a volunteer, can they just go to your website?
Exactly. All of our information about volunteering is on santaanazoo.org. Under the support tab, they can click on volunteer at the zoo and find all of the information they need.
Okay, perfect. And then, you know, here we have this exploration point here. What are they going to find here?
So here at the Exploration Outpost, you're going to find our reptiles and amphibians. We get a lot of guests that are afraid of snakes, and we have 2 big, beautiful boa constrictors here at the zoo. And it's a great opportunity for people to kind of face their fears, and also for our volunteers to give some conservation messaging and help people get past those myths and realize that these animals are really important to our environment and have benefits for people as well.
The Santa Ana Zoo is located right off the 5 freeway off 1st Street on Chestnut Avenue in Santa Ana. Very simple to get to. The zoo is open 7 days a week from 10 to 4, closed major holidays. There is a senior rate, 60 years and over, of $9. Wheelchairs and electric scooters are available for rent. For more information, visit their website at www.santaanazoo.org.
Family Chronology is a family-owned business here to help you tell your story in your own unique way, in order to ensure that your legacy is passed down to your descendants for centuries to come. Imagine if you'd grown up with a video documentary of your great-great-grandparents.
You know, I've never met them, unfortunately.
Imagine your children hearing from them directly, how they thought, how they lived, the unique experiences they would have to share. Those experiences enriching the lives of generations they never got to meet. This is what you're doing for your family's benefit. We want to help you tell your story your way.
And our movie coming up today, Friday, is Rampage, and action, adventure, sci-fi, and Dwayne Johnson is in this. If you like that kind of movie that's sort of in the vein of Jurassic Park and really kind of goes back to King Kong, you will like this. Of course, when Dwayne Johnson is in it, there's always a lot of action and usually a fair bit of one-liners and comedy as well, and this is no exception. So, fun movie. And it's all about when these animals become infected with a dangerous pathogen. A primatologist and a geneticist team up to stop them from destroying Chicago. And there they are in there. Naomi Watts is in, or excuse me, Naomi Harris. And of course, that's Dwayne Johnson. Fun movie, like I said. And this will be today at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. So tune in for Rampage. Now, our movie coming up on Monday is a documentary called Always at the Carlisle, and this is a very renowned and luxurious hotel that is in New York City. It's been there, I think, well over 100 years, and over the years they have just had the top clientele come in. There's George Clooney. They've had actors and politicians and world leaders stay there over the years. And even to this day, it is considered one of the best, finest hotels in the world. And that's what this is about, a documentary from both folks who stayed there, some actors and other famous people, to the staff who have been there for many, many, many years. So, oh, by the way, I did check. We were talking about this yesterday. If you want to stay there, I picked a random weekend in October. And for a standard small room, it starts at $1,000 a night. And then the top suite goes for $13,000 to $14,000 a night. So if you want to stay there, go ahead. I'm sure I would say it's probably worth it, the level of service that you get. But it's going to be a fun documentary, 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And I was looking at this yesterday. I do not believe there are subtitles that came with this, probably because it's a documentary. I didn't see them listed at all. So I think the 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock movie, both of them, there will not be subtitles. So that is Monday. I do want to remind you about coming up on Monday as well. The Alzheimer's OC Club are having their meeting. You're all invited to go there. They do suggest that you RSVP because I believe they set up some refreshments, 949-757-3721. And the topic is a series that they've been going over the last few meetings called Brain Fitness and it's a exercise led by Cognitive Care Solutions. Of course, if you want to go there and do some of those, or just talk about the disease in general, maybe something you're going through or a loved one, they're there for you. And this will be again coming up Monday at 10 o'clock, and that will be over at the Performing Arts Center in Dining Room 2. So join them for that. Now, for our weather, I've been telling you that today is sort of the transition day. A lot of fog out there this morning. We should be warmer by about 5 degrees today, really throughout Orange County. You're going to see that and start to really go up. Saturday and Sunday, we are going to be approaching that 90-degree mark or so. We might get it a little bit better right here in Laguna Woods. What I do is I look at several different sources, and for this area it's been anywhere from the high 80s to about 90, 92, so I kind of give you mid-level in there. But we will warm up. There could be some winds associated with this around the area, meaning locally, but also California. Anywhere from cool weather up around Eureka, 64 degrees, all the way to very hot weather in Palm Springs, even San Diego, look at 92, and Tahoe and Yosemite, you know, warm up there as well. So yeah, look for some, a little bit of coastal fog, but that's going to be in the northern area. But down here, not so much, and we could get some offshore winds and some onshore winds. It's going to be kind of on and off the way this high pressure is right off our coast. So we'll see. Hopefully it won't produce many problems like all the fires we've been having, particularly right now, the one up in Shasta, which is unfortunately another big one up in that same area. All right, we'll see you Monday. You take care. Third Mutual will be on, segment from Breastlink and the Village Library, as well as the California Club. See you then. Bye-bye.